Welcome to the show, everybody. It is the Crypto Lark. Today we are going to be talking about the Winding Tree ICO. They are looking to decentralize the distribution network of the travel industry. We're going to be looking into what exactly they are trying to do after a quick shout out to everyone who has been hitting that like button, and of course everybody who has been subscribing to the channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you hit that button down below to stay up to date with all of the latest in the crypto space. Furthermore, this is of course not professional financial advice. This is just a dude talking about cryptocurrencies on the internet. This is an ICO. Please do understand that there is always a certain amount of inherent risk in investing in any ICO. Please do your own due diligence before investing your own money. Furthermore, this is not a sponsored review. This is just a project that I found very interesting and thought you guys might want to know about too. Let's get into it. Now, in order to understand why Winding Tree is interesting, you of course have to understand the problem first. The travel industry is a highly centralized industry, particularly the middlemen. And we all know blockchain loves to get rid of the middlemen, like banks or like the people sitting in the middle of the travel industry. Now look, you have all of these suppliers, airlines, hotels, and they have to go through these giant corporations which take a huge fee. Distribute that, of course, out to smaller networks and things like this, but the problem is that it's a small handful of these middlemen. They inflate the prices massively. And of course, who ends up paying for that? Mostly the consumers. And of course, with the way the current system is, there is zero incentive for these middlemen to change. Why would they? They're making a killing at doing what they're doing. And of course, because there's no incentive to change, that makes the current system basically anti-innovation and also creates a very big barrier for any new platforms that want to get involved. Not to mention, of course, that the current system is massively outdated with, centralized databases which are open to hacking and all the rest of this. Essentially, the system right now is screwing hotels, it's screwing airlines, it's screwing tour providers, and of course, it is screwing the customers. This is a market which is ripe for disruption. Now, the question is Winding Tree the right tool for that disruption? Well, let's get into it and pop under the hood and see what they're doing. Winding Tree is setting up a non-profit foundation to handle the funds that are raised from the token sale. This is not a customer-facing business. This is something that you have to understand. I think is a common misconception about Winding Tree. They're not setting up the new Expedia. No. They're business to business. They are setting up an infrastructure where an airline can sell their seats to a regular travel provider, a startup, any of these different companies, without that middleman who's buying it all up, taking it all, charging a bigger price to the little guys at the end. Of course, the smaller travel agencies, right? This will be a network where you'll have no distribution fees. There will be referral commissions and things like this, but really, the main idea is to allow the suppliers to provide directly to the sellers. Of course, it'll be open source as well. Now, let's get into some of the partnerships here, because this is a really exciting part of Winding Tree. They've actually managed to already sign some huge partners. Lufthansa, Swiss Air, Air New Zealand, Austrian Air, Brussels Airlines, Eurowings, and a new addition is Nordic Choice Hotels. When you see partnerships like this, you realize that, even though this is a fairly simple idea, cutting out the middleman using blockchain technology, we're going to get into the token and the blockchain side of it here in a minute, but companies like this look and they go, oh, thank God, someone's finally offering us a solution to help connect to the people selling our tickets without having to go to basically this mafia-like structure of middlemen who are just taking a cut. Inefficiently taking a cut, but taking a cut nevertheless. So these partnerships really give me a lot of faith in this project that they have seen the utility in this and are interested in working with that moving forward. Now, having a look here at the team at the moment is rather small. They have just done a February, an update, not February update, January update, talking about their team. So currently there is a 10-person team, which is a fairly small team considering what they want to try and do. Of course, they are looking to hire more people. So if you want to go work for Winding Tree, they're looking for developers, guys, web developers, designers, all that stuff. So you can always reach out to them, but it is a 10-man team at the moment. Not everyone is listed on the website here at the moment. If you look at the guys who are currently there, though, we have people with a lot of experience in software engineering, but also with the travel industry. So that is, of course, good to see. I'll leave you guys come and check out their LinkedIns if you want to find out some more information about the team. Now, what about the token? So, one of the big benefits of putting this on the blockchain and using a token is that there'll be a lot fewer Forex fees. Now, let's imagine that you are buying a plane ticket to go from South Korea to New Zealand. You're flying through Tokyo, right? And let's imagine in that situation you're paying in US dollars. So we have to convert US dollars to Korean won to pay the local airport taxes in Korea. You have to convert US dollars to Japanese yen to pay the local airport taxes for your transit in Japan. You have to convert US dollars to New Zealand dollars, of course, again, to pay your airport taxes here in New Zealand. So that alone is just 3 Forex transactions. That's a flight that I recently took. So all that happened behind the scenes. Now, a standard ERC20 token is more of a transactional instrument. They have got an ERC827, which is essentially an extension on the ERC20 token. Basically, it can handle a more complex range of data. So the guys at Winding Tree will be implementing that. Now, the token itself operates as the fuel of the network. So if a travel agent wants to buy $100,000 worth of seats from Air New Zealand, they have to pay for that in Leaf token. That is, of course, huge. That gives a huge potential value to Leaf if you look at the size of the global travel industry. Now, there will also be small fees paid out to miners, and the token also will operate as a governance right. So if you are a Leaf token holder, you will have rights in the governance of the platform. So you can keep that in mind too. Now, they do have an MVP up. This is their hotels app. Obviously related. The really exciting one, I think, is the airlines. But nevertheless, hotels are, of course, incredibly important as well. You can come over here and check out the code on GitHub, should you so desire. Now, looking forward, thinking about the roadmap, we will see the integration for hotel providers. Again, that MVP is already up there. Airlines happening later this year. And essentially, the continued development of that project will see a decentralized Leaf exchange, Q1 2019, etc., etc. Now, some concerns, some thoughts that you may want to take into consideration here. Scalability. Now, this will be being built as an ERC827 token, ERC20 extension, if you will. Now, they're going to be operating on state channels mostly, so that should solve a lot of the scalability. Not to mention, of course, that as the upcoming Raiden network and things like this get implemented on Ethereum, hopefully that will help as well. Because if you think about the number of transactions potentially necessary for this, it could be very, very large. Like so many Ethereum-based projects, that is a concern. Now, they do mention in the white paper is the consideration of other blockchains. They didn't mention any names specifically, but they are not, Ethereum maximalists, we could say. What about the privacy of user data? Now that's something to think about as well. Or what about the rates, right? Imagine you're Air New Zealand and you're giving a different rate to Bob's travel agency than John's travel agency. Well, if Bob looks on the blockchain and goes, hey, wait, John got a discount, I didn't. Well, every transaction will be encrypted. Nobody except the transacting parties will be able to see the details of that transaction. So this should largely handle the user privacy of data issues. What are the potentials for stopping fake listings, for example? If you are a fake hotel and you want to sell fake hotel rooms, is that a possibility with this? Not addressed in the white paper, but something to think about. The big players are big, like really big, multi-billion-dollar companies. This is a small company, David Goliath first kind of battle here. Can they overcome those big players? Quite potentially, because they're setting up a model where they're doing it decentralized from the get-go. So that's important. Obviously, these giant organizations are very slow, usually, to change. And of course, is the industry ready for this? Now look, we have some very forward-thinking airlines here, Lufthansa, Swiss Air, New Zealand, etc. They seem to be ready, but how will other airlines react? Maybe other airlines are getting a pretty good deal. Maybe this is going to threaten their profit model. Maybe some hotels will be threatened by this model. Those are things to keep in mind, is that you actually need the industry players to be on board, and without industry on board, you're going to have a hard time getting that adoption. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the sale here. Now, there was a pre-sale. There were some bonuses in that pre-sale. According to this, only $50,000 of pre-sale. This was super pre-sale kind of stuff. Got a 50% bonus. $200,000 worth of tokens were sold with a $30,000 bonus, and the rest were sold with a $20% bonus during the public pre-sale. Now that is about $1.25 million worth of tokens that were sold during the pre-sale at a 20% discount. This was back a few months ago. So there have been some bonuses. Whether or not that gives you a bit of worry about, of course, that sale pressure once these tokens do hit the market, something to keep in mind anyway. They've got it set up to work with the Jax wallets and, of course, my Ether wallet as well. Now, it's an interesting token sale model. Well, first let me tell you, it's going to be 1 Ethereum for 1,000 Leaf tokens during the first week, 900 Leaf for 1 Ethereum during the second week. But there's no cap. And I think that worries a lot of people that there's no cap. Now, they've set up what's called a market validation mechanism. Essentially, their soft cap is $10 million. If they go over that soft cap, any contributions over $10 million will get locked up in a smart contract. Now, that smart contract from $10 million to $40 million will have a 24-month lockup on those funds. Over $40 million, there'll be a 48-month lockup on those funds. Now, what this smart contract does is offers a buyback scheme. So, if this hits the market's not ready for it, or whatever, and the price drops significantly. Let's say it drops by 50%, and you're going, wow, you know what? I don't want to wait this out. I don't want to see if this is going to, turn around at some point. I want out. You don't actually have to sell at a 50% loss. The smart contract is set up so that you can sell your tokens back to the Winding Tree smart contract. I think you get a 90% of your investment back. So that's pretty cool, actually. That's really setting up basically a market protection mechanism It's a very interesting way to run their ICO. Certainly, that does protect, I think, to a certain extent, against the oversale of tokens, because there's no incentive to, if you're a whale, come in and buy $50 million worth of tokens, because you're just going to lose 10% of your money because you're going to saturate the market. Interesting model anyway. You guys will have your own thoughts on whether or not you think that is useful or not useful, that there should be a cap or all these different things, but that is how it is working. Now look, the original sale was scheduled for November. There were some legislative changes in Switzerland, so they decided to shuffle things around a little bit, but the sale will be kicking off on the 1st of February, 8 a.m. UTC time. 75% of the tokens that are sold during the event will be for the public sale, 20% will go to the team, and 5% will be set up as the nonprofit foundation's budget, basically to run over time. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about Winding Tree in the comments section down below. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.